Hey peeps, in today's video we'll unbox, set up, and test a new laser as well as its accessories.
So Longer reached out to us to send us their 12-watt Nano Pro Galvo diode laser. So what's really cool about this particular laser is its portability. This is really the laser. So obviously very portable. They did also send us, as part of the package, a rotary extension and a slide extension for bigger projects. So let's get this unboxed.
Thank you so much, Longer, for sending us these products. We're excited to try them out.
Okay, this is it. Everything that comes in the box, and we have it laid out. Okay, so this is it. This is our laser head. Obviously very compact, and what makes this kind of unique and different from other diode style lasers that we have is this is Galvo controlled for our axis control. Rather than using servos to move a laser head back and forth, it uses tiny little mirrors, which you can see here, and these mirrors move, which adjust where the laser is firing and going through our lens, which obviously makes it so that we can run this much faster than we can a standard gantry style diode laser. So also in the box is our little stand here. It does have electronic up and down motion. It's not autofocus, but you can just push a button to get it to the laser head to move up and down. And then it comes pre-installed with a flat base plate with standoffs here to get repeatability, like if you had a bunch of projects to do. It also comes with a cutting bed, which is three-dimensional here. Gets it off the table so it can kind of cut through whatever material you're going through. Comes with a protective shield to make sure that no stray laser beams are flying around our area. And comes with an integrated fan to kind of suck out the smoke if you're engraving and cutting. Comes with some cables. We have a data cable here to connect to our computer and a cable to connect the laser head to the base plate. We have our power brick, 12 volt, 5 amp brick, little thumb screw to connect our laser head to our base plate, software USB stick. This comes with Laser GRBL, comes with some goggles and a nice cleaning cloth, some spare parts and a tool, focusing ruler, and then some test material. And what we have here is, looks like painted aluminum cards, and then some paper, and then a couple 2mm birch plywood. And of course our instruction manual. Has some strong magnets on here as well as on the underside of the machine.
We're on our computer now and we've plugged in the drive that came with the laser. And it's very important that we install everything in the correct order or the machine won't connect to LightBurn properly. So the first thing we need to do is open the drive. And it comes with different files including instructional videos. It also has detailed manuals. Right now though, we're going to open up the software folder. And we want to copy over this driver zip file and open it. In this file, there's an option for Windows and Mac. We'll be utilizing the Mac one because we're using a MacBook. and it comes with even more instructions that are very detailed and beneficial for this process. What we need to do now is open the package file and continue through the pages and install the driver. Now we're going to click the install button again, but it's blocked, so we had to change some of our security preferences. It's now installed, so we can close all of these windows. We also need to restart our computer. Now that we're in LightBurn, we'll click on Devices in order to connect our laser. We need to now import the configuration file that comes on the drive that came with the laser. In the Softwares folder, we can click Open on the available file. Now it will appear in our Devices window and we can press OK. Next, we want to plug in our laser and turn it on. Then we'll be able to connect to LightBurn by switching over to our Nano Pro. And we need to use this specific USB serial or else our console won't show up properly. And now we're connected properly. We'll also do a test by framing out a square. But first we'll go to our device settings and we want to make sure we have our laser on when framing. We also like to have our laser frame continuously. Now we'll adjust some settings in the Move tab, which we like to have our speed as fast as possible or 10,000 millimeters per minute. Finally, in the Console tab, we need to select the Switch Carving Mode setting, and we can now frame out the square.
And you can see we're framing. So now we're going to do a materials test on this aluminum card to see what settings we need.
To create our material test, we'll go to Laser Tools and Material Test. Then we're going to adjust our settings for the aluminum card. We'll do a 2x2 grid, a power param that goes from 20 to 100%, and a speed param that goes from 100 to 10,000 millimeters per minute. And finally, we'll adjust the settings of our text and material.
We got some good results in here. We have a nice little gradient. We have a clear image. Yeah, even at the 10,000 millimeters per minute speed, which is really fast for a diode laser. Again, comparing this against a gantry laser, there's no doubt this is way, way faster. This is almost like our fiber laser speeds here. Well, it's really like our fiber laser speeds, because the Galvos being the mechanism to move the laser along rather than an entire laser head across back and forth. So really neat here. You got some good, nice engravings. Well, let's do the other side with the longer logo. power are we going to use? Let's see. Let's do 5,000 and 80% power. So we can use this as well to get our height adjustment, or we can use the 2 laser dots. I go ahead and frame it and lock it down. I think the coolest thing about this right now is, I mean, listen, it's so quiet. It is really, really quiet. You can hear the sound of the little fan on the back of the shield and the fan that's inside the laser head module. But like, we don't have to listen to the gantry move back and forth. That's really neat. Obviously, the other really cool thing about this is, look how portable this is. It's so small. We could take this anywhere. It's really clean. I like it. Took all that coating off of this little aluminum card. Really happy with that. Okay, so we've completed tuning up our laser using the offset adjustment. If you're interested in details on how we did that, check out our video on offset adjustments.
We're again in LightBurn to do an engraving material test on wood. We'll do a 4x4 grid with a speed param of 500 to 15,000 millimeters per minute and a power param of 10 to 100%. We're also going to adjust settings in the Cut Settings editor.
So unfortunately, I'm using the brackets to hold this wood straight because it's sort of bowed, but in its outermost hole here for the brackets, it conflicts with the guard here before the laser comes in focus. So I can either engrave it without the guard, which is not something I want to do, or I can figure out another way to hold this flat. And I think I'm going to try that. So I went ahead and stopped the engraving because clearly we are just burning. So we got some really good engraving marking here. And then we saw we went way too slow with 500 millimeters per minute. Overall good results, and we got some good settings that we can save for future use. As for the text, I forgot to readjust the settings from our offset adjustment test. So that's why it looks really kind of grainy. That's completely my fault. I didn't adjust that back. Anyway, pretty good. So now we're going to do a cut test with 4.5 millimeter or 0.18 inch thick plywood.
For this cut material test, we'll do a speed param of 500 to 1,000 millimeters per minute and a passes param of 1 to 6. And we need to make sure we are using the line mode for in the material setting because we're doing a cut test.
See, our engraving went a little too deep, but that cleans off pretty well. Use our cutting table. Well, it looks kind of charred, but it did cut through some of these. I think the key is lower power, faster speed, and more passes to get a cleaner cut. But I think obviously the true value of this is engraving anyway, but it is capable to cut. Now that we've completed some of the testing with our laser, we're going to go ahead and dig into some of the accessories that Longer sent us. The first is this slide extension, which takes the active work area from 100 by 100 millimeters to 100 by 300 millimeters in the Y direction. Okay, so here's it all laid out and everything that it came with. Here's our new, basically our Y gantry now, or slide, so it will actually move in this direction. And then the new base came in 2 pieces with a little base plate here. Comes with a riser for our laser head to move it up, along with a thumb screw. It looks like some workpiece attachments to secure your stuff, some scales to help connect the 2 halves there, some feet, the cord that will end up connecting this motor to the head of our laser, and then some hardware. This is to make sure that none of these cables get stuck in here as it's traveling. So there must be some kind of redesign here with the slide, because you're supposed to just slide this up here and that would be kind of where it's set, but the feet are different. And nowhere in the instructions does it tell you to put the feet that does come with it on it, but this does significantly raise it to where it'll be a lot higher and we wouldn't have anything to kind of rest this on. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the feet on because I really have to. Otherwise, our piece will just kind of fall over like that. All right, so you can see here now with our feet on, we don't have to worry so much about it tipping over. There's nothing to rest this on to ensure that we are actually, completely straight in the Y direction. So we're gonna have to come up with a solution there to make sure that we're always set where we need to be. But anyway, that looks like everything that we need to do here. Okay, so we have it roughly set up. The key thing here is making sure that our laser head module is parallel with our axis here, which again, with these new feet here, it doesn't necessarily line up with how it's supposed to be with the instructions. So we have to kind of eyeball it to get it just right. Additionally, as part of this setup, you're gonna wanna use some levelers here because with the weight on this bracket, it kind of like goes like this naturally. But there are some grub screws here at the bottom to help offset this and get this sitting right. So you have to adjust those grub screws to get this to sit somewhat parallel. So now we're going to go ahead into LightBurn and get this set up for engraving a larger project. I need to hit this switch slide extension button in the console, which will activate our bed here. Now, as far as homing this thing, there is no home button, but we can use our little laser lights here. Unfortunately, there's really no real way to home this better than just putting this red dot on the tip of our thing here. So I'm just gonna line that up as best as I can. So that's how you're supposed to set up home, which again, it's not really the best option, but when this unit is completely separated from the base, there's really no other way. Again, we need to make sure that this runs parallel and that we have enough space for this to kind of run back and forth. In LightBurn, we need to change our work area. So we're going to go to the device settings, and then we're going to change the height to 300 because now our work area is 100 by 300. Now to test the full movement of this, I'm going to go ahead and draw a box that is roughly the size that we need. I'll just go 99 by 299, and then I will center that box. I'm going to go ahead and frame this out now so you can see kind of the full movement of our new bed. So you can see our light right there. So I'm going to have to move this over this direction more. Okay, and that's it for setup. So now we're going to go ahead and do a little design. Very important here, we don't have the guard on because it would interfere with our hold down clamps. So make sure you wear your safety glasses. Now it's time to unbox this rotary. All right, so here's what comes in the box. We have another clear instruction manual, which is nice. We obviously have our chuck head unit here, as well as the tailstock, which just kind of mounts onto it like so. It comes with another extension here to move our laser head up a little bit higher. This is exactly the same that came with the slide extension, so we don't need to install this again. But now we have a spare. Comes with a nice little spirit level, as well as a measuring tape here. I thought we would need this to measure circumference of our cylinders, but with the software, we just need the diameter of the materials the cylinders that we are engraving. So I'm not really sure how much we would use this. Comes with a couple different chuck attachments depending on the size of what you are engraving, as well as some little fingers for smaller things like rings. You could use these to clamp something that's really, really small. And of course, we have the hardware here and some tools. Now, interesting here is on the back of the machine here, there is a spot for both the USB-C type connection for our stepper driver here, as well as kind of a traditional connection to stepper motor. And it does come with these cables to, I guess that could connect to that, but these don't connect to our machine. I don't even think we need them, and they're not listed in the instruction manual as being something that this machine comes with, so I'm not really sure, but we will be using this cable here to connect to the back of our laser head. So let's get everything set up. Okay, so putting this on, we're going to actually choose a different option here because this is as small of diameter we're going to be able to get. And we're just going to test here on this little paper towel tube. So that's too big. So we're going to switch to one of our other options and see if we can clamp this down. We can always clamp this backwards. This is to make sure the motor is parallel. So now that we have everything set up in the rotary extension, let's go ahead and get it set up with the laser. So I'm going to connect to the laser, and we are connected. Setting up the rotary here is pretty simple, not automatic, but there are some things that we need to do according to the instructions. And the first is kind of defining our work area again, because this is our work area with our slide extension, and we need to update that. So in our device settings, we're going to go ahead and set this up height of 480 millimeters. And I guess that's the work area they want us to have here. The second thing is kind of updating in our console to switch to the rotary extension. And then there are some updates we need to make here. So we have to actually right click on the switch rotary extension, and we have to change our workpiece diameter. And again, this is why we measured our little cardboard tube here. So we're going to update this to our measured diameter in millimeters, which was 39.4. Then we're going to hit OK. And then we're going to hit switch rotary extension. In LightBurn, defining rotary settings here, we don't have to do that anymore. It's all done in this macro saved in our console. So now we just need to kind of bring in our design. And we'll go ahead and trace that. So we're going to go ahead and go to our settings. It's going to be our fill. And to engrave this, we're going to just do a pretty light 10,000 millimeters per minute and 40% power. And because this is just a test, we're going to put that to 0.1 millimeter interval, one pass. So now let's frame it and see if we can get this to move. Actually, we got to focus it, don't we? Let's focus this first. I'm going to make this a lot smaller because I don't really want to engrave something this big. Now I'm going to hit frame and see if this frames out. Okay, so it's framing out right now. Basically, what you want to make sure of is that the blue laser dot, which is the actual laser just on very low power, is sitting on the top, very top of our cylinder, which it's close enough, because that's where we focused this laser to. So now that it's done framing, I'm going to go ahead and start the engraving. Okay, so we got our first engraving complete here on this little paper towel holder. Now it is a little bit skewed because I didn't have this tight enough in the stock here, so it was kind of lifting up as it turned around, but it's not stretched out, which means that we got the diameter measurements correct of our little cylinder here. Some things of note, some connection issues that we had, and I think this is really just our computer. When we went and edited the macro for rotary extension to set our diameter of our cylinder, I was having some connection issues in getting this to hook up correctly, but I restarted LightBurn, went back in, and everything seemed to be working fine, and we were able to get really easy engraving. So I will say, provided you're not having any software issues, this is really easy to connect, set up. I would say compared to other rotaries, especially roller type rotaries, where you have to kind of get the roller diameter, circumference, and everything else correct. This is a lot easier because the only number you need is the diameter of your cylinder. Set it up in the right position, hit the macro, and go. All right, so after thoroughly testing out our longer laser and its accessories, we have a few final thoughts. First things first, this is a really cool portable laser. We do like the fact that it is very fast at engraving, and its portability makes it so that you could take it anywhere, whether you could take it outdoors, engrave at craft shows. We really like that feature about this. Now, would I use this laser engraver to cut? Probably not. I wouldn't say is the greatest for cutting, simply because there's no air assist with it, so we get flame ups quite a bit. You saw that when we cut out our little longer sign over there. And I think that's just because there's no air assist to kind of blow that fire out. Additionally, because the laser is kind of coming from the center point and being kind of aimed outwards, the kerf on this is actually rather large. So as something as big as that, you can actually see when you engrave it, the edges kind of are like that versus straight up and down when you get a gantry style laser cutting it out. So that's just something you have to know before getting this if you're planning on using it for cutting. We would absolutely use this for fast engraving, specifically on anodized aluminum. It does a fantastic job with that. So as far as the slide extension attachment, we personally really wouldn't use this because we have our choice of many gantry lasers as well as CO2 lasers that already have a large work area. But if this is the only laser you purchase and you want to expand your work area from 100 by 100 millimeters to 100 by 300 millimeters, then you can utilize a slide extension here to expand that. Yeah, now if you're looking for a laser and laser system to engrave larger things, this is probably not it. But if you're looking for something that is really fast, powerful, and versatile, this may be it for you. The rotary, however, is probably the easiest rotary we have to set up. You do not need to worry about LightBurn setup with rotary at all. You simply adjust the diameter of the cylinder that you are engraving in the macro, align it to the laser, and you're done. So we really like the easy setup of this rotary. We also like the fact that if we had like a normal style cup is kind of trapezoidal, we can adjust the height of the tailstock here really easily, and it does have a roller tailstock here for smaller diameter things as well. Really versatile when it comes to being able to engrave very large cylinders as well as very small. As you saw, there are several feet that kind of go onto this chuck. We also like the fact that how fast this engraves. With this chuck here, you could do tumblers really fast and easy with not a whole lot of setup there. So we would purchase this as it's very useful. The other added bonus of having this portable design is we can engrave in any orientation we want. We can engrave on the ceiling if we wanted to, and we were able to hold it up steady for that long. The ability to kind of just aim this forward and engrave is really cool. Now, we didn't use the base when we engraved on our little drawer here because we wanted to use the protection here for our eyes. If we were to kind of bottom this out, it still wouldn't be in focus because there's this 1/8 inch base plate here that would not be in focus with this in the way. But we could also take this off and engrave with the base plate completely because the bottom comes out, which is also another cool feature of this. We can engrave our table just like that. So being able to move this anywhere you want to engrave is certainly a plus that you do not get with a gantry system. You can engrave a sign on the wall that's already hung up if you wanted to.
Also, if you're interested in this laser or machines from the Longer website, you can use our discount code Project5OFF for 5% off. Once again, a huge thank you to Longer for sending us this laser and all of its accessories. And thank you so much for watching this video.